The meeting was scheduled for Tuesday at 10 a.m. at Whitmore and Associates, the law firm that had handled my family's affairs for 30 years. My brother Jacob had called me 3 days earlier, his voice tight with barely controlled excitement. "Rebecca, we need to meet at the lawyer's office. It's about Grandpa's trust. There's some paperwork that needs to be signed." "What kind of paperwork?" "Just estate stuff. Division of assets." The lawyer said it's time to formalize everything. "Can you make it Tuesday?" I'd hesitated. Jacob and I weren't close. We hadn't been close since we were kids, since he'd figured out that being charming and manipulative got him further than honesty and hard work. "Please, Becca," he'd said, using the childhood nickname he knew I hated. "It's important. Mom and Dad will be there too." Family stuff. Family stuff. That usually meant Jacob wanted something. But I'd agreed because I was curious. Our grandfather had died 2 years ago, and his trust had been in some kind of legal limbo ever since. Maybe it was finally being settled. I arrived at the law office at 9:55 a.m. The receptionist directed me to a conference room where my parents were already seated. Mom looked nervous. Dad looked resigned. Jacob wasn't there yet. "What's this about?" I asked, sitting across from them. "Your brother has some concerns about the trust distribution," Dad said carefully. "He thinks there's been an error in how things were allocated." "What kind of error?" Before he could answer, Jacob swept in. Designer suit. Expensive watch. Hair perfectly styled. He looked like he'd just stepped off a yacht, which was ironic because he'd been between jobs for 8 months. "Becca. Thanks for coming." He sat down next to our parents, creating a united front across the table from me. "This shouldn't take long." Richard Whitmore, our family's attorney for 3 decades, entered behind Jacob. He was 72 years old, sharp as ever, with the kind of face that gave nothing away. "Rebecca," he nodded to me. "Good to see you." "Richard." He sat at the head of the table, opening a leather folder. "Shall we begin?" "Yes, let's," Jacob said eagerly. He slid a stack of papers across the table to me. "These are the trust distribution documents. They just need your signature." I picked them up, scanning the first page. Legal language. Dense paragraphs. Something about transferring assets and reallocation of beneficiaries. What exactly am I signing? "It's a correction," Jacob said. "When Grandpa set up the trust, there was an administrative error. The assets were supposed to be split evenly between us, but due to a clerical mistake, they weren't properly distributed. This fixes it." I looked at Richard. "Is that true?" Richard's expression was perfectly neutral. "The documents your brother has presented would change the current trust structure, yes. But was there an error?" "That's a matter of interpretation." Jacob leaned forward. "Look, Becca, I know you don't need the money. You have your job, your apartment, your little savings account. But I'm trying to start a business. Mom and Dad have been helping me, but I need more capital. This trust money should be split 50-50. It's only fair." "How much are we talking about?" "The trust is worth $2.3 million. Under the current structure, distribution is uneven. These papers would make it equal. You'd get half, I'd get half. Simple." I looked at the papers again. Page after page of legal terminology. Transfer of trustee authority. Reallocation of principal. Distribution modifications. "And if I don't sign?" Jacob's jaw tightened. "Then you're being selfish. That money is family money. Grandpa would have wanted us to share equally." "Did Grandpa say that?" "He implied it. In conversations. He always talked about providing for both his grandchildren." I turned to Richard. "Can I see the original trust document?" "I don't think that's necessary," Jacob started. "I'd like to see it," I said firmly. Richard pulled another file from his briefcase. "Of course." He slid it across to me. I opened it and started reading. It took me 20 minutes to get through the legal language, but slowly, the structure became clear. The trust had been established in 2019 with $2.3 million in assets. The trustee, the person who controlled distributions and had final authority, was listed as Rebecca Marie Cartwright. Me. I was the trustee. I'd been the trustee for 4 years. The trust stipulated a monthly distribution of $5,000 to Jacob Michael Cartwright, at the trustee's discretion and subject to review based on financial responsibility. There was no distribution listed for me. Because I was the trustee, I controlled the entire trust. I looked up at Jacob. He was watching me with barely concealed anticipation. "You don't know," I said slowly. "Don't know what?" "Just sign the papers, Becca. Stop being difficult. You don't know what the trust actually says." "I know it's supposed to be split between us. That's what Grandpa intended." "No," I said. "That's what you assumed." I slid the original trust document across to him. "Read page 4. Section 2.3. Jacob grabbed it impatiently, scanning the page. I watched the color drain from his face. This says you're the trustee. Yes. But that's just administrative. That doesn't mean you control everything. Actually, Richard said quietly, it means exactly that. Rebecca has full discretionary authority over all trust distributions. She decides when and how much money is distributed to beneficiaries. Beneficiaries? Jacob's voice went up an octave. What beneficiaries? You, I said. You're the beneficiary. I'm the trustee. That's not possible. Grandpa wouldn't. Grandpa did. I pulled out another document from Richard's file. Here's his letter of intent, written when he established the trust. Would you like me to read it? Jacob looked like he was going to be sick, but he nodded. I read, I'm leaving the bulk of my estate in trust with Rebecca as trustee because she has demonstrated financial responsibility and sound judgment. My hope is that she will use this authority to help her brother develop these qualities himself. Jacob receives a monthly stipend of $5,000, contingent on Rebecca's approval, to be increased or decreased based on his demonstration of fiscal maturity. The room was absolutely silent. The papers you wanted me to sign, I continued calmly, would have transferred trustee authority to you and given you control of the full $2.3 million. Was that the administrative error you were correcting? Jacob's hands were shaking. You've been controlling my money for 4 years? It's not your money. It's the trust's money. And yes. The $5,000 I get every month, that's you? You're the one sending it? Yes. Why didn't you tell me? Grandpa asked me not to. He wanted to see if you'd become financially responsible without knowing I was watching. He wanted to see if you'd treat me with respect even when you thought I had nothing you needed. Mom spoke up for the first time, her voice quiet. Rebecca, honey, we didn't know about this either. I know, Mom. Grandpa set it up this way deliberately. He didn't want Jacob or anyone else treating me differently because of the money. Dad leaned back in his chair. So the $5,000 a month Jacob's been getting comes from the trust. At my discretion. I've been approving it automatically every month for 4 years. Jacob found his voice. You've been spying on me? Judging my financial responsibility? The trust requires quarterly reports from your bank. Yes, I've been reviewing them. That's my job as trustee. And what did your little reports tell you? His voice dripped with sarcasm. I pulled out a folder. In the past 4 years, you've been through 8 jobs, never lasting more than 6 months. You've borrowed $47,000 from Mom and Dad. You've maxed out 3 credit cards. You bought a $95,000 Tesla you couldn't afford and had it repossessed. You've spent the $5,000 monthly distributions on dining out, clothes, bar tabs, and luxury goods rather than savings or investments. I've been building a lifestyle. Networking. You wouldn't understand, you're just a boring accountant living in a boring apartment. I'm a financial analyst earning $165,000 a year. I own my apartment, paid off the mortgage last year. I have $380,000 in retirement savings and another $200,000 in investments. And I did all of that without a trust fund. Jacob stood up abruptly. So what? You're rich? You control Grandpa's money? Good for you. Just give me what's mine and I'll leave you alone. What's yours is the $5,000 monthly distribution, I said. That's what Grandpa designated for you. That's not enough. I need more. I'm trying to start a business. What business? I told you, a consulting firm. High-end corporate consulting. I have investors interested. I just need capital to get started. I pulled out another document. Is this the business plan you sent to those investors 3 months ago? Jacob's face went white. How did you? The trust gives me access to review any financial documents related to major expenditures. Your business plan proposes a luxury consulting firm with $180,000 in startup costs. 75% of that budget is allocated to office furnishings, company vehicles, and client entertainment. Only 10% is allocated to actual business development. That's how you build a brand. You need to look successful to attract clients. You need to look successful, or you need to be successful. Give me my money. Jacob slammed his hand on the table. That trust should be mine. Grandpa was senile when he wrote it. He didn't know what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing, Richard said quietly. I helped him write it. He was completely lucid. He specifically wanted Rebecca in control because he worried about Jacob's spending habits. Jacob turned on Richard. You knew about this the whole time? And you never told me? Client confidentiality. Rebecca is my client as trustee. You're a beneficiary, not a client. This is conspiracy. You're all conspiring against me. Jacob, I said quietly. Sit down. No. I'm not signing anything. I'm contesting this trust. I'll get my own lawyer. I'll prove Grandpa was incompetent. Sit down. Something in my voice made him stop. He sat slowly, his face red with rage. I looked at him across the table. My brother. The golden child who'd always gotten what he wanted. The charming one who'd coasted through life on looks and personality while I'd worked for every single thing I had. I'm terminating your monthly distribution, I said calmly. Mom gasped. Rebecca, no. As of today, the $5,000 monthly payments stop. You can't do that. Jacob shouted. I can. The trust gives me full discretion. The distributions are contingent on financial responsibility. You just admitted you wanted to spend $180,000 on office furniture and luxury cars for a business with no actual plan. That's not financially responsible. Mom. Dad. Tell her she can't do this. My parents looked at each other. Dad spoke carefully. Rebecca, don't you think this is a bit harsh? Your brother made a mistake, one mistake. I interrupted. Or a pattern of mistakes spanning 4 years. The Tesla. The Mex credit cards. The 8 failed jobs. Borrowing from you repeatedly. And now trying to trick me into signing away the trust by claiming there was a clerical error. I wasn't tricking you, Jacob said. I genuinely thought you could manipulate me into giving you control of $2.3 million. Just like you've manipulated Mom and Dad into giving you $47,000. Just like you manipulate everyone around you. That's not fair. Isn't it? I looked at our parents. How much has Jacob borrowed from you in the past 4 years? Mom looked down. That's between us and your brother. $47,000, I said. I know because you borrowed against your home equity line to give it to him. That information is public record. Dad's face flushed. We wanted to help our son. And I'm trying to help my brother. By not enabling his financial irresponsibility. Jacob stood up again. I don't need this. I don't need your money or your judgment. I'll make it on my own. Good, I said. I hope you do. He stormed out, slamming the conference room door so hard it rattled the windows. My mother started crying. Rebecca, how could you? He's your brother. And he was trying to steal from me. From the trust Grandpa set up specifically to protect the money from exactly this kind of impulsive decision. He needs help. I've been helping him for 4 years. $5,000 a month. That's $240,000 total. He's blown through all of it with nothing to show for it. So you're just cutting him off? Dad asked. Completely? No. I pulled out another document. I'm restructuring the distribution. Jacob can receive monthly payments again once he meets 3 conditions. I slid the paper across to my parents. 1. He maintains steady employment for at least 1 year. 2. He creates a budget and sticks to it for 6 consecutive months, verified by bank statements. 3. He pays you back the $47,000 he borrowed. Mom read the document, tears still streaming down her face. You can't control his life like this. I'm not controlling his life. I'm controlling the trust money. There's a difference. Jacob can live however he wants. But if he wants access to Grandpa's trust, he has to demonstrate financial responsibility. That's what Grandpa wanted. Your grandfather wanted you to help your brother, Dad said. Not punish him. I am helping him. By setting boundaries. By holding him accountable. The worst thing I could do is give him unlimited access to money he hasn't earned and doesn't know how to manage. Richard cleared his throat. For what it's worth, Rebecca's approach aligns exactly with your father's intent. The trust specifically includes language about developing financial responsibility. Rebecca is executing her duties as trustee. So that's it? Mom asked. Jacob gets nothing? Jacob gets the opportunity to prove himself. If he meets the conditions, the monthly distributions resume. If he truly starts a viable business with a real plan, I can approve distributions for legitimate business expenses. But I won't hand him $2.3 million to blow on luxury cars and office furniture. I stood up, gathering my papers. The trust isn't punishment. It's protection. Grandpa knew Jacob needed structure. He knew enabling him wasn't love. And you think cutting him off is love? Mom's voice was sharp. I think teaching him consequences is love. What's the alternative? Give him everything and watch him lose it all? Then what? He'd have nothing, no skills to rebuild, and a lifetime of expecting bailouts that won't come. I walked to the door, then turned back. Grandpa trusted me with this responsibility for a reason. I'm not going to betray that trust just because it's uncomfortable. Rebecca, Dad said quietly. He's going to hate you for this. I know. Is it worth it? Losing your brother over money? I'm not losing him over money. I lost him a long time ago when he decided I only mattered if I could give him something. This is just the moment he realizes I'm not going to play that game anymore. I left them sitting there and walked out to my car. My phone started buzzing before I even reached the parking lot. Jacob, calling from different numbers after I'd blocked his first few attempts. Text messages flooding in. You're dead to me. I hope you're happy destroying your family. Mom and Dad hate you now. You're a controlling bitch who gets off on power. I turned off my phone and drove home. The fallout was predictable and painful. My mother called me every day for 2 weeks. How can you do this to your brother? He's struggling. He needs help. He needs accountability, not more money. You're so cold, Rebecca. So unforgiving. Maybe I was. But I'd watched Jacob charm his way through life for 32 years. Watched him borrow and spend and fail and blame everyone else. Watched my parents enable it, bail him out, make excuses. Grandpa had seen it too. That's why he'd structured the trust the way he had. Jacob tried a different approach after 3 weeks. He showed up at my apartment building, buzzing my intercom at 11 p.m. Becca, please. Let me come up. Let's talk about this. There's nothing to talk about. I'm sorry, okay? I was wrong. I shouldn't have tried to trick you. I need help. I'm drowning. Then meet the conditions. Get a job. Keep it for a year. Create a budget. I can't wait a year. I have bills now. Credit card debt. I'm going to lose my apartment. Then maybe you should have thought about that before buying a $95,000 Tesla. That was 2 years ago. I'm different now. Then prove it. I hung up. He tried coming back 3 more times. I never answered. My parents stopped calling after a month. I heard through Aunt Carol that they were disappointed in me. That they'd raised me better than this. That I was letting money turn me into someone they didn't recognize. They never acknowledged the $47,000 Jacob owed them. Never questioned why they had to refinance their house to bail him out. Never wondered if maybe, just maybe, they'd been part of the problem. 6 months passed. I received an email from an address I didn't recognize. Rebecca, it's Jacob. I wanted you to know I got a job. Sales position at a medical supply company. Not glamorous, but it's steady. I've been there for 3 months. I'm working on the budget thing. It's hard, but I'm trying. I'm not asking for the money back. I just wanted you to know I'm trying. I stared at the email for a long time. Then I called Richard. Pulled Jacob's bank records for the past 3 months. They arrived 2 days later. The deposits showed steady paychecks. The spending showed a dramatic decrease in restaurants and bars. No luxury purchases. Just rent, groceries, utilities, and minimum credit card payments. It wasn't perfect. But it was different. I drafted a response, keep going. 9 more months. 3 months later, another email, 6 months employed. Still working on budget. Paid Mom and Dad $5,000 toward what I owe them. I know it's not much, but it's a start. I checked with my parents. The payment was real. At the 1-year mark, Jacob sent documentation. 12 consecutive pay stubs. 6 months of bank statements showing budgeted spending. A payment plan for the remaining $42,000 he owed our parents. I reviewed everything with Richard. He's met the conditions, Richard said. Technically, you could reinstate the distributions. At the original amount? That's your discretion. I thought about it for a week. Then I drafted a new distribution schedule. $2,500 monthly, half the original amount. With annual reviews to increase if financial responsibility continued. I sent it to Jacob with a note, this is a starting point. Prove you can manage this, and we'll talk about increases. The full trust remains under my control. That's not changing. His response came an hour later, thank you. I understand. I won't let you down. It's been 18 months since that meeting at Whitmore and Associates. Jacob's still employed. Still budgeting. Still paying back Mom and Dad. We're not close. We probably never will be. But he sends quarterly updates now. His sales numbers. His budget spreadsheets. His progress paying down debt. Last month, he sent something different. A business plan. A real one. Not luxury consulting with company cars and expensive offices. A modest proposal for contract sales consulting. Low overhead. Focus on revenue generation. Realistic projections. What do you think? His email said. Would the trust consider funding this? I forwarded it to a business consultant I trusted. Got a professional review. The verdict, solid plan. Conservative estimates. Reasonable startup costs of $25,000. Good potential for actual profitability. I approved $15,000 from the trust. Not the full amount he asked for. Enough to get started if he contributed his own savings for the rest. His response, thank you. I mean it. I'll make this work. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. But for the first time in his life, he's actually trying. My parents still don't fully understand. Mom still thinks I was too harsh. Dad thinks I should have just split the money evenly and treated him like an adult. But Grandpa understood. He knew the difference between helping and enabling. Knew that real love sometimes means saying no. Means setting boundaries. Means letting people struggle so they can learn. The trust will be there for Jacob if he needs it. But only if he proves he can handle it. That's not punishment. It's not control. It's the only real help I can give him. Have you ever had to set financial boundaries with family? How did it change your relationships? Share your story below.